After the craziest trade season in Toronto Raptors history, some Raptors fans still have questions about the future of this organization, specifically with some moves that don't make it clear on whether or not the team is embracing a tank, embracing a season where they can really push for the bottom and maintain their draft pick, or they're going to go back to going all out in terms of making the play-in, getting some, not necessarily a winning season because it's going to be tough to get over 500, but build up a winning culture with this current young group. Well, some answers have been revealed in the latest report, so we'll discuss those, particularly about some contract extensions that might be incoming for some new Toronto Raptors guys. And Fred VanVleet has spoken out on Scottie Barnes being an all-star, his relationship with this new Raptors group, and some pretty interesting stories. So lots of stuff to dive into in this vid, but before we do, folks, again, over 56% of our viewers are not subscribed to the channel. We want to keep you posted on everything Toronto Raptors. So if you don't want to miss a thing, make sure you hit that subscribe button. But let's dive into what's been going on, because the Toronto Raptors' future plans have been revealed a little bit in terms of some latest reports. The dust has settled, in all the trade discussions, everything that has come out, and the Raptors still have questions. Again, we get it. We trade away OG, we trade away Pascal. The Raptors are moving in a development direction. Bobby said it, Masai said it, Darko said it. We're trying to develop this young group and build for the future. But we acquired Kelly Olynyk, which some Raptors fans were confused by, because even though he's a great player, and some people, underrate the heck out of him just because he's a little bit older and things like that, but he's a good player, but he's a free agent this offseason. Why did we give up a first-round pick? Is it just for Ochai Agbaji? What's going on here with that potential deal? What's happening with Bruce Brown in the future and all of these things? Well, let's dive into Kelly Olynyk first, why he was potentially brought in, and his potential future with the Toronto Raptors, because as I broke down in a video this morning, Kelly Olynyk is a guy that wants to be on the Raptors to close out his career right now. He loves being on the team, in his home sort of country where everything started. So basically, Kelly Olynyk is on the last year of a 3-year, $37 million contract and is extension eligible. So the Raptors have likely already sounded him on what his expectations would be for a new contract and feel good about being able to keep him. He's about to turn 33 in his 11th season, but is still playing at an extremely high level and would be a seamless fit in Rajakovic's smart passing, smooth shooting big system, or as a smart passing and smooth shooting big, he'd fit in Darko's system. But basically, he's averaging 8, 5, and 4, and the assists in 20 minutes per game this season, while shooting 56% from the field and a remarkable 43% from behind the three-point line, and those are both career bests for him. It'll be interesting to see him on the floor with multiple other shooters, giving Scottie Barnes the floor spacing to attack the paint he's never had with the Raptors. So basically, what's coming out here from Michael Grange from Sportsnet is, given this trade that's gone down, the discussions that have sort of happened, it feels like both sides are kind of aware of the best path forward. And you combine this with Kelly Olynyk's quotes. I mean, he knows he's a free agent. He knows these discussions have been had, and it's revealed to us now that these discussions have been had about a future contract extension. I'd be shocked if he sort of said, hey, I'd want to be here my entire career. I want to be on the Toronto Raptors. If he was making remarks like that, no matter how big of a fan he was, sort of as a Toronto Raptors fan growing up, I'd be shocked if he was saying these types of things if there wasn't sort of an extension framework in place to actually go down ahead of this year's summer, or, you're in a position to really bring him back, and maybe you wait till the offseason to figure out, hey, maybe we need to front load this contract and then give us more flexibility in the future if we strike out on some free agents during the summer, or maybe we give him a longer term deal that is a bit more smooth, or whatever sort of plans best fit the Toronto Raptors flexibility moving forward. So I project Kelly Olynyk, an extension is either coming, but definitely, whether or not an extension is coming, a contract will definitely be coming to bring him back to the Toronto Raptors, given this latest report. But we have some other stuff that has sort of come out along these lines, basically for the Toronto Raptors here, and basically, regarding Ochai Agbaji, the quotes are not popping up here now at this point, but basically he's a hard-working, high-character guy. He's a two-way player with all that fits the bill for all kinds of players that the Raptors have pursued over the past 4 years. A 4-year player at Kansas, you get to watch develop, and he started at times for Utah, so we feel like we're getting a younger player with a lot of upside and a hard worker, high character, so he'll be one of those guys. So more quotes coming out regarding Ochai Agbaji. One of them is not pulling up here, so that's unfortunate. But basically, the Raptors are still going that development route. They're still trying to grow these young pieces, bring them all together, but also have some solid players in that front court. And what does this mean for the tank? What does this mean for what's going on with the Toronto Raptors here now at this point? Well, the Raptors are in a position where they're probably going to make a run for it. They're probably going to make a push. They'll see how this group sort of goes, but there's zero intention on actually purposely losing and tanking for that draft pick going forward. So that's the big plans. Bring back Kelly Olynyk, make a push to sort of close out the season while also developing the younger pieces. So that's where the Raptors are moving, but let's look at the past a little bit because Fred VanVleet has come out and spoken out on Scottie Barnes and the new-looked Raptors. Now, the new-looked Raptors are obviously a much different team than what Fred VanVleet sort of departed from, last season. So he had some interesting quotes, especially some things that may have been a hot topic. There's rumors, there's some reports that there may have been some heat between Fred VanVleet as well as Scottie Barnes, during the course of last season, timelines not matching, expectations not matching, all of these types of things. Well, Fred VanVleet spoke out on basically, said he was closer to the team, or this is the quote here. Basically, he asked Fred VanVleet his thoughts on Scottie Barnes making his first All-Star team game in his third year, and he says it'll be good for him to be in that locker room amongst his peers, amongst other top players in the NBA. So I'm happy for him. He deserved it. He's playing at an extremely high level this year. So some serious praise there from Fred VanVleet regarding Scottie Barnes, talking about how good it is to be around those types of players. Fred VanVleet has been an all-star for the Toronto Raptors. It just puts you in another sort of, I don't want to say stratosphere, but different headspace, just being locked in around a bunch of these star guys. You build that relationships. You just build your sort of name as one of the top guys in the NBA. So building up that cachet is going to be huge for the Raptors locker room as well. Just having one of those guys that is an all-star that has that recognition across the league, especially for a very young dude. So that's cool to see. And then Fred VanVleet was also asked regarding, how he still feels about the Toronto Raptors and, how he's watching games and stuff. And he had a pretty sweet quote. Basically, Fred said he was close to the team before the recent run of trades, but a certain Fred Jr. keeps pulling him back in. Said, whether I want to or not, my son always makes me watch the Raptors games. He's always asking me when the Raptors are playing. We watch games on a daily basis. He still has all the memories. He loves being here. He loves the mascot. He knows the players. We watch a lot of Raptors games. So regardless of where Freddie goes, regardless of how long he stays with the Houston Rockets, the Fred Jr., Fred VanVleet's kids obviously are a big part of Toronto Raptors story, turning us around that NBA championship series. When the kid was born, basically Fred VanVleet became one of the best shooters in NBA history for that short stretch of games. But, Fred VanVleet's kids still have that deep connection to the Toronto Raptors. So you love to see that, keeping Federico watching these games. And, this cool quote came out from Scottie Barnes, or a cool picture, from Scottie Barnes and Fred VanVleet kind of being together after the game. And, for all the reports, all the turmoil that may have happened last season that have, people hating on Fred VanVleet, saying he was toxic, all this type of stuff, Fred VanVleet is still an absolute Toronto Raptors legend, no matter how things departed. I've always been a fan of him, always will respect Federico and what he did, bringing us an NBA championship, was a key piece, had that finals MVP vote. So, shout out to Fred, shout out to him being around. I wish we got to see him play last night against Houston Rockets. We could beat Fred VanVleet with him out there on the court, but I don't know. You guys are the best to make it as far. Subscribe to the channel. Anyways, I'm signing out. Cheers.